Hey guys, just a quick disclaimer before we start the video. My review is going to contain spoilers. If you haven't watched the movie yet, I'd recommend you go do that if you want to actually see it without spoilers. If you don't care, then go ahead. But anyways, yeah, enjoy the video.
It's a Mario.
So yeah, I watched a Mario movie last weekend, or the weekend before that. If you're out of the loop, the Mario movie has been hyped up for a while now, especially in the last couple of years where Nintendo has been releasing some snippets of the movie for the public. And it's become kind of a big deal because the last Mario movie, we don't talk about it. Yeah. So, I'm not gonna lie though, I was never really hyped for the movie.
But Sean, aren't you a huge Mario fan?
Shut up, Toad. No one likes you. Kind of saw, like, Chris Pratt was Mario, the animation was being done by Illumination. I just had a bad feeling about it. So, why did I watch a movie? A couple of my friends wanted to watch it, and so I watched it with them. So, having seen it, is the movie any good? Well, I'll be evaluating that based on 4 criteria: plot, writing and characters, animation, and soundtrack. So without further ado, let's get into it. So yeah, the plot. What actually happens in the movie, right? So the plot of the movie is that Bowser is trying to take over the entire dimension that he resides in by using the power star that he finds in the Ice Kingdom. Meanwhile, Mario and Luigi are doing their thing in Brooklyn, trying to become plumbers after having quit construction. The business isn't doing too well, everyone's kind of laughing at them, and then they find this pipe when they're trying to fix a flood that's happening in Brooklyn. So Luigi gets sent to the Dark World, which is Bowser's domain, and Mario gets sent to the Mushroom Kingdom. Upon Mario finding out that Luigi has most likely been taken hostage, he begs the princess to help him save his brother. Initially, she's not really that convinced, but then she allows Mario to go as long as he does some training. After a training montage, they decide to go to the Kong Kingdom to try to get the Kong army, and, well, it's a tough bargain. Mario has to fight DK in order to get Cranky Kong's approval to get the army. But Mario fights him, and he somehow wins, and then they get the army. They try to get back to the Mushroom Kingdom, but then they get sabotaged by the Koopa army. Peach is taken hostage. Mario and Donkey Kong have to try to find their way to get back to wherever Peach is to try to prevent Bowser from actually going through with his wedding. And then, it's just the final battle and that. I know, great review, huh? So I kind of oversimplified it. I think the plot is fine. I mean, they didn't go with just Bowser kidnaps Peach, end of plot, which I think is really all the plot needed to be. I will say, though, it is kind of my least favorite part of the movie, because even though it is more complicated than Bowser kidnaps a princess, I still don't think it takes that many risks overall. There is still a hostage situation, it's just Luigi this time for most of the movie. That being said, though, it does what it needs to, so that's pretty good. That leads into my next point with the writing and the characters in general, which I think it's a separate enough thing that I can discuss it in greater length. Most of the characters in this movie are fantastic, in particular 3. Bowser is kind of like always written well, especially in the RPGs where, there's more story, so they have more opportunities to write him. He's written most similarly to how he was in Paper Mario 64, and I think that's the best possible route they could have gone, especially with the plot, with his infatuation with Peach, and he's actually kind of cruel this time, he tortures his prisoners, he tortures his henchmen, which is weird. But anyways, it also just gives Jack Black the perfect opportunity to just badmouth Mario, like especially at the final battle. Bowser almost beats Mario and then he taunts Mario, and that's just good. Donkey Kong is also a really good character. He's just kind of this showboat, and then all of a sudden after Mario beats him, it hurts his pride, but Later in the movie, there's a lot of stuff that gets thrown at Mario and DK, and they have to cooperate in order to survive, like when they get eaten by the Unagi, and when they have to go through the Mushroom Kingdom once it got taken over by the Koopa Troop. Toad is probably my favorite character in the movie.
Not me, though?
No, not you! If you've watched any of my other videos, you know I kind of portray him as kind of this grouch, Squidward type character, and here he's the exact opposite, but it still works. He's, in his own view, Mario's best friend, and throughout the movie, he's just a comic relief. He doesn't actually do anything substantial, but I think that's great, and I love what he brings to the table. The other characters are fine, you know. The only problem I have, Luigi is kind of underutilized. If they wanted to go with him being like the kidnapping victim, I think the movie would have done really well to do what Paper Mario 64 did and have some segments like interludes where Luigi is just trying to do whatever. And I think that could have been a great thing to see. As for the writing itself, it's solid. If you're a hardcore fan of Mario, or even just a normal fan, you'll notice all the sorts of references everywhere, and it's pretty cool. If you're not as much into the Mario movie, I think it's a little weaker, but who knows, you might find some entertainment out of it. Overall though, this is probably the best part of the movie, in my opinion. As a Mario fan, I realize I'm a little bit biased there, but I think there's something for everyone. Now for animation. The animation is phenomenal. I don't think I need to go into great detail over like everything the movie does right animation-wise. But the movements are really smooth. I think the art style is probably the one thing I've liked about the movie since I first saw the clips. But yeah, it kind of takes inspiration from all sorts of Mario games. What I like in particular, though, is the environments, especially the Dark World. Instead of being like the Volcano Worlds, it's kind of like the Dead Forest from the first New Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Bros. 3, and I think that's a nice touch. You know, Mushroom Kingdom is also nice. It's in every scene pre-takeover, you see just how busy it is, and I think that's a neat touch. As far as things that I would have wanted to see elaborated more on, we don't really get to see much of the Ice Kingdom, which, considering that the first several trailers put so much emphasis on it, I would have loved to see it more, as well as the other kingdoms, but they all look solid, so I'm not going to complain too much. The music is also phenomenal. Mario as a series has been known for having at least solid music, if not better. Like Mario Galaxy, Mario Kart Wii, those two games, in my opinion, have the best soundtracks of any Mario game, but that's an entirely different topic. I think the Mario movie does well in this regard. It's not perfect. All the original compositions are pretty good. I in particular like Buckle Up, because I was frankly shocked that they made a Super Nintendo Rainbow Road remix, which, I mean, in hindsight, I probably could have expected it, but, you know, that's fine. I really dug it. However, I wasn't as much of a fan as the licensed music. The Mario series has all this music that you could have used, and yet you use this licensed song. I get it, that's something that Illumination just does, but it still hampers the quality of the movie overall, in my opinion. I think they should have just stuck with strictly original compositions. But the original compositions are really good, so I'm not going to complain too much. So, what do I think of this movie? If you haven't picked up at this point, I think the Mario movie was pretty good. I had a much more positive opinion of it when I walked out of the theater, but I still think it's a solid movie. If you are a huge fan of Mario, this is an instant recommendation. Watch it. If you're not as much of a Mario fan, that's up to your discretion. I think it can be enjoyed no matter what. However, I know some people who would not claim that. The movie's not perfect by any means. Even as a Mario fan, I can admit that the movie has some severe flaws. That being said, it's kind of fine because, you know, considering how successful the movie is, I think we're going to get a sequel, and that's just going to build on what was set up in this movie. And this first movie is a pretty solid foundation. So yeah, that's it for today. If you enjoyed this, tell me so. If you didn't enjoy it, I'm sorry. This is kind of more an experimental thing. That being said, I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, you know, all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!